Alright, so in this video, I want to talk about something that's honestly been getting a lot of mixed reactions from players following the Honkai Star Rail 3.5 beta. We finally got our hands on Cedra's full kit and playstyle, and while she seemed promising on paper, especially as a support for Phanon, the early impressions from testers tell a very different story. So let's walk through what Cedra actually does, where she fits into current teams, and why a lot of players are already raising eyebrows at her overall value. If you're someone who was hyped about her as the next must-pull support, this is definitely something you'll want to hear before making any decisions. Phanon's release is finally here, and you can save up to 25% on his banner at lootbar.gg. And for Phanon's release, you can use the code Phanon at checkout to get an extra 5% off. Right now, Lootbar has a special limited pack of 6,480 Honoric Shard for only $72 compared to $100 in-game. That's a $28 saving you can use towards summoning him. I just enter my UID and select a server. I received the shards right away on my account. Besides Honkai, you can also top up in Genshin, and Lootbar has over 50,000 satisfied users. I regularly use Lootbar for my giveaways, so I can personally recommend it. Use my link in the description for an additional 10% discount. Cedra is a 5-star Harmony character with the wind element, and her entire design revolves around enhancing skill-based damage for a specific ally. Her main mechanic is tied to a system called Military Merit, which she grants to one character using her skill. Every time that character uses their own skill or basic attack, they gain 1 point of charge. Once they reach 6 points, that military merit evolves into nobility, which gives a big bonus. The buffed unit's next skill is not only stronger, but also automatically activates Coup de Main, which is essentially a free additional skill activation. That's a huge deal for units that rely on repeating powerful skills, and this is especially true in the case of Phanon, who already centers around maximizing his skill damage. Now, her ultimate helps speed this up by granting 2 charge points and ensuring someone always has military merit active, even if they didn't have it before. And her technique applies the merit before the battle even starts, so you're not wasting early turns setting it up. Overall, it's a pretty elegant loop if everything lines up. Theoretically, this makes her great for Memory of Chaos, Pure Fiction, or Apotheosis simulated universe content, especially where quick, clear times really matter. She also adds ATK buffs, critical damage boosts specifically for skills, and bonus speed, which looks pretty good at first glance. But now, here's where things start getting a bit rough. According to early feedback from testers, most notably from Watson Leaks, Cedra has some serious limitations that are holding her back. The first issue is that the buffs she provides, while sounding decent, are restricted in scope and kind of underwhelming in actual combat. For example, the plus 20 speed bonus she gives might look appealing, but Cedra's entire design is focused on enhancing skill-based damage. That speed bonus doesn't actually help her main goal, which is boosting the 1 or 2 big skills from your carry. More importantly, all of her skill damage bonuses are only applied to skills, not to basic attacks or ultimate abilities. So that means she's completely ineffective for characters who rely on ultimates, follow-up attacks, or multi-hit combos outside of their skill. This really limits her synergy. Right now, the only characters who can genuinely benefit from her kit are Phanon and maybe Archer. There's also some potential with Anaxa, but that's about it. Most other units simply don't use their skills often enough or powerfully enough to justify including her over other Harmony supports. And when you zoom out, even for those characters, her buffs aren't exactly mind-blowing. Testers report that the ATK buff is uncapped, which is nice, but the rest feel lackluster unless you have her signature light cone. Without it, you're left with a 72% critical damage buff to skill, a 54% skill damage bonus, and the plus 20 speed. That's 3 total buffs. Decent, but not game-changing, especially for a character that only buffs one target. Compare that to someone like Bronya, who offers turn manipulation, massive critical damage scaling, and can apply her buffs every turn, and you start to see why players feel Cedra falls short. Another huge criticism is that her skill rotation and payoff just don't feel satisfying. To activate Nobility and get the double skill effect, your main DPS has to build 6 stacks of charge by using skill or basic attack 6 times. But that takes multiple turns, and even then, the payoff feels small compared to the effort required. And that's not even touching on her own performance as a sub-DPS. While her visuals and animations might give off the vibe of a powerful DPS, her actual numbers are too low to justify using her in that role. She's stuck in this awkward spot. Not quite a top-tier buffer and not really a strong sub-DPS either. Testers were especially frustrated with how narrow her application is. You can't just drop her into any team and see great results. She only works when paired with very specific skill-focused characters, and even then, the damage increase doesn't always justify the opportunity cost. One beta tester put it bluntly: it feels incredibly wasteful. Unless she gets some serious last-minute buffs or adjustments, Cedra might end up being one of those characters that only sees niche usage in ultra-optimized comps. And that's really unfortunate for a 5-star Harmony unit who was clearly designed to synergize with the highly anticipated Phanon. Speaking of Phanon, here's the kicker. Some players argue that if you just invest in Phanon's Eidolons, you get better results without needing Cedra at all. The main benefit she brings, triggering that extra skill, is basically handled by Phanon's own Eidolons, especially at higher levels. So instead of spending resources to get Cedra and her light cone, you could just go all in on Phanon and end up with a more efficient team. That's a pretty damning conclusion when you think about it, especially considering how most Harmony units tend to offer broader support tools. So here's the big takeaway. Cedra isn't necessarily bad, but she feels like a character still caught between two identities. She wants to be a sub-DPS but doesn't hit hard enough. She wants to be a buffer but only works in very limited setups. And unless you're running her with the exact team she was designed for, and preferably with her signature light cone, she just doesn't offer much over existing options. If you're still excited for her, that's totally valid. There's definitely a fun niche appeal, especially if you enjoy creating high skill comps or want to run Phanon at max efficiency. But for most players, especially free-to-play or light spenders, she's probably going to feel underwhelming unless something changes before release. Both Cedra and Hycelins are set to release in Honkai Star Rail version 3.5, which goes live on August 15th, 2025. So if you're planning your Stellar Jade or Nameless Glory path around either of them, you won't have to wait. Just a few weeks from now, we'll be able to see how they perform on live servers compared to beta impressions. Anyway, let me know what you think. Is Cedra a future hidden gem or just a highly specialized tool that most players will skip? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more updates like this on character kits, beta reactions, and team building strategies, don't forget to subscribe. Save up to 25% on the Phanon banner at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.